Now, back to Steiny and Guru on 95.7 The Game.
Oh, this has been a hell of a Steiny and Guru.
That's the feel.
Willard's looking like,
no, what you doing? Don't do that to me, boy. Leave me alone.
Now you guys know.
We got our starting five right now.
I've learned after the last 2 weeks to ease into things. Don't get excited early. Just ease into it. Let's see what happens. That's my new mantra. No matter what. We're going to ease in. We're going to ease into this crap.
That's good stuff.
Oh, this is the crossover. Steiny Guru, Evan in for Steiny. Goo, Lorenzo Neal here with us. We are very happy for his presence alongside, of course, Willard and Dibs. What's up, boys? How we feeling?
Woo!
Yeah,
Be honest, Willard.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
When did you get nervous? I sent you and Dibs a text. We've been throwing it to the listeners. Mine was halftime. I was like, oh.
When did I get nervous?
Yeah, when did you think, you know what?
Play of the game.
Kickoff. Yeah.
Oh, so you were in it
Fourth play of
early.
the game.
Wow,
I was
man.
nervous after the late flyover.
No, I'm with you.
The flyover was off.
You always kind of want you want corroboration. So you come out of the Packer win, and everybody's thinking the same thing. All the excuses that we threw out, were they it was raining, they were rusty, and the Packers are better than we thought? Or is there actually something wrong?
Wow.
Is there a seed? Right? And it took 4 plays, and I'm like, oh, something's wrong. Something's wrong. Let's see if they can fight through it. Mm-hmm. And they did. But we're going to actually have some fun with that today. Yeah. What was everybody's energy changer?
And that's what's
Dib,
what'd you do?
Dib, you had one word to describe the defense early. It was what?
It was porous.
No, what about ferocious?
Oh, we got that song somewhere on the soundboard. We'll play that. It was ferocious, but it was porous. And I'm trying to remember who texted me because I wasn't big on the phone. You know, I'm trying to lock in on the game.
I'll send you one.
I got the baby, and I hit you in the second half. But, for me, the big energy changer was Grandma came over. Shout out Mima. Mima Doris. She came over late second quarter and said, I came to play with the baby. And I said, you know what? It's a good thing because the baby and I right now, we're not happy. We're not in a good place because the Niners can't get a stop, and all she wants is for me to read this book and read and this and that. And I'm like, baby, I can't right now. Daddy's in a bad place right now, okay? I don't know if any of your books are reflective of my mood. We're not going to do Goodnight Moon. We're going to change it to Goodnight Kyle.
Yeah.
Because this is a sad story. So Grandma came over. I made the bed at halftime, made those hospital corners upstairs, came down, was by myself, and was like, you know what? Get a score here. A score and a stop. That's all we need. Score and a stop. And they got the field goal, and I thought, oh, boy, that wasn't kind of what I was hoping.
But the fumble lie, yeah.
And then they go for it on fourth down, and I said, good for you, Dan. You do you, Dan.
That's when you thought it was the ties.
Well, and then the Ayuk fluke, I think Grandy called it. I don't know if that's the official name, but when that happened, I was shrieking by myself, and the baby came running out. I said, Mila, sit on Daddy's lap. We got ourselves a ball game.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was
too soon.
Well, I mean, she's 17 months today.
Totally.
So,
Goose said earlier, though, like it was an avalanche. I mean, it happened so fast.
Right.
Yep.
In one quarter.
Man.
And from the Reynolds drop, then to the somebody was saying the boop to IU, right off the helmet, and then, of course, the fumble one play later. Bing, bang, boom. You got yourself in a tie game, and then it just felt like they were going to boat race him. Like, everyone went in the stadium from dead to alive, and it took like 2 minutes of game time. I've never seen anything like that.
And one Lions play. Yeah. From the Reynolds drop to the tie game, the Lions ran one play.
Wow.
And fumbled.
Yeah.
One play, which is actually, I think, something, and I don't know, Lo, I wonder what you think about this. Like, can Dan Campbell coach to that? Here's what I mean. You know you're coaching a team that's never been there. You know you're carrying the weight of 30 years of fan angst on your shoulders. And so the reason that I sort of question what he was doing is like, boy, if this doesn't go well,
right,
that thought immediately collectively hits the sideline of, oh, here we go.
Right.
Here we go. Like, and they gagged. They're up by 14 points, and you could feel it immediately where they were like, oh, crap. And so it's a drop pass, and then a fumble, and then another drop pass.
Bypass of 3 points.
And the Niners, you're right, and the Niners have the lead. And then you've got the ball, and you're still only down 3, but your mindset is in a completely different place now.
No question. I'd say if you see me fighting a bear, help the bear, not me. But that's what they end up doing. They end up helping the bear. Dan Campbell was in a situation where here's what he has to realize. You're playing on the road. You're already in a hostile environment. Your team hasn't been here in 30 years. You said, now, when is there an exception to the rule? And that's what he didn't understand. The first one, I still was like 70% he should have kicked it and tied up.
Yep.
But the second one, now it's only, 7-8 minutes left, Dibs, that if you can't, you owe it to the men on that team. You owe not yourself. You take yourself out of it and you say, look, the second time you kick the field goal because now it's tied. And now even if they score, whether it's a field goal or a touchdown, you can still tie it up.
Yeah.
What they did, it gave them no shot of being able to tie it up.
And I thought the first time they should have gone for it when they were at the
kill shot,
3 or the 4 yard line.
Before half.
Yeah, you go for that one. You go for the jugular, and that's one where if you don't get it, it's 2 scores, but who cares in the second quarter? But you do get it, and now you take that Levi's crowd out of it.
Yeah.
And I couldn't really tell from home like you could be in there, Evan, but it sounded like as that second quarter was going on, it was kind of getting a little bit quieter and quieter because there wasn't much hope in the building at that point.
It was dead. It was deafening.
I heard Jared Goff chants.
Oh, yeah. I don't know how to do that. There's a lot of Honolulu Blue, though. Like, it was probably 25%.
They did well.
They did really well.
Good.
I mean,
a lot of Michigan.
They've been saving money for 30 years. Might as well spend it. Spend it. Come on out.
But I think it was just like, I think it's because of the style and the way that the Lions were doing it. Like we're talking about at the top of the show, there's nothing more just deflating than knowing that they're lining up, they're going to run the ball, and they're going to get 7 yards. And in fact, it wasn't even like, okay, they were muscling you. There was no contact. We were talking in the press box midway through the second quarter, around that time you're talking about. There was at a point in which the Lions were averaging 6 yards before contact on the ground. I mean, that is absolutely ridiculous, and it's impossible to get into a game if you're a fan like that.
Can they fix it, Dibs? Can they fix this defense?
I hope so. And, Mark and I were just getting into it, and more Chiefs talk as we get closer to it. But the thing that alarmed me defensively was they looked a step slow. Man. And this was after the Green Bay game where they kind of got it handed to them in many ways, and now you knew that this run attack was going to be formidable, and yet at the point of attack, they were going backward. And that was for the first couple quarters, and it was Gibbs and Montgomery, and then that little end around.
Williamson?
Williamson.
It was 14-0.
But once he got by the line of scrimmage, it was still nobody touched him.
Just weaving his way.
And the safeties came over late, and the corners weren't there, and next thing you know, it's a house call. So can they fix it? I hope so, but I know that there were 90% of the Niner fans wanted Steve Wilks out at halftime. And then
it was going to be a long off season.
Oh, there's no doubt.
It would have been a short off season for him, I think.
I mean,
But I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
I think it would have been a short. And still, I don't even know if they win the Super Bowl. Maybe it's a different conversation. But it doesn't feel like this defense is better than it was a year ago or 2 years ago, and it should be. So can they fix it? Yeah, but that Isaiah Pacheco. He runs with a certain amount of anger.
And Andy
Brass
and
hates
Patrick
Isaiah
Mahomes.
Pacheco.
Don't forget those two who are playing their best ball all of a sudden. I can't wait. I mean, that's what it's about. But, man, revenge.
I went back to see your text. I still haven't responded.
Okay.
502. 502.
Left him on red.
502.
What's up, good?
502. He wrote.
Now I'm sitting there sipping by myself like, man.
He wants some company. He wants a little company. He's going through this misery with you, right?
He was in a dark place. He was running the bunk bed he was during the week last week.
I put the phone in the other room now during these games.
Okay.
I didn't
want
anything to do with it. I don't want anything to do with it. But you at 502. Wow. A lot of game left, but
right.
Wait,
that's it.
Him out.
That's it.
Well, yes, we have a whole half to play.
Tony Soprano in studio.
Hey, Tony, if you wouldn't mind, just real quick.
Yes, sir. Yes.
You sent me the same text.
Hey.
Did you have any punctuation in it? Mine had no punctuation in it.
Are you saying that we all look alike?
That's never too soon, Dibs. That's never too
Evan,
soon.
I was a little tipsy, so
Copy
I
and
just
paste.
copied that
Copy and
one.
paste.
I think he's blushing.
And then Dibs hit me back. I was 1 for 2.
red over there, dude.
I was
You're
1 for 2.
Dude.
I can't believe you did
Deep
that.
voice,
But yeah.
scratchy high pitch.
Willard, I normally don't do that, and I did it this time.
No, don't.
And you guys called
Don't
it.
let him back out of it.
Yeah, I hit copy paste.
Well, you do got that voice. You got that little Barry White, man.
Look at him.
The people, did you? Is that you?
Sure, you're right.
You used to talk.
Daddy.
You used to talk him out of them, didn't you? Boy, I can already tell, boy. Okay, you already know what they call you.
You got to use what I got.
You said they used to call you PR, baby.
Got to use what I got.
Shout out cigarettes.
I did hit you back 42 minutes later.
Yeah, you did.
And I said,
appreciate it.
huge stop on the drop, which was after the 4th and 2.
Wow. You stop on the drop. That's nice.
You know me, Lo.
Willard, I really think Campbell is the. Dan Gamble, as Evan coined him. I mean, if you talk about the institution of coaching, what you guys just talked about on the road, the Bible, Kendrick Lamar, being humble and taking 3 to, okay, now we're still up 17. He just comes across as a former player that wants the glory, and you let your team down. And that's when all the stuff that went bad, maybe you could have processed it a little better had you been adding 3, but to just, we're, like Evan said, we're going to play it safe before half, which that really would have, if you would have got in and then come back and not do it, you let your team down. Well, and Lowe said this on the plane. They had his back, but they were whispering like, Coach was, this got to stop. You need somebody to say, you know what? Let's go win it, but you're doing too much.
At minimum, the kickers was saying that. He was over there muttering to himself on the sideline.
Yeah, exactly.
He was over there muttering. He's like, why have a job? What are we doing here?
Yeah.
So, I mean.
He's a good kicker.
Yeah, he is a good kicker.
Can I ask you
listen,
do you think he was on a little drugs? Dan or the kicker? Dan?
Well, caffeine for sure.
Captain Dan? Yeah. Boy. Listen, we said it last week, and for somebody who has been accused of being overly conservative in the playoffs, and that's Kyle Shanahan, I pointed out right away, it's like the other way can bite you too. And it did. It absolutely did. So it's not just Dan. You look across the NFL this year, and coaches somehow have got the disease of the field goal. Like they want no part of it.
Staley lost his job in L.A.
Staley lost his job because of it. You've got to. So to me, you've got to look at this and go case by case. There are too many coaches that are like, this is what we do. We go for it. Well, no, you can't go for it every time.
Right.
Like, how would you all have felt if Kyle Shanahan, who damn well wanted a touchdown coming out in the second half,
I give him all the credit in the world.
He took a 43-yard field goal with a dude who'd already missed.
No doubt.
And he took it.
The long game.
And thank goodness he took it. So I think there's some coaches across the league that need to remember that 3 is not such a bad thing.
Well, we want you to remember. You're listening to 95.7 The Game, KGMZ FM and HD1 San Francisco. Always live in the free Odyssey app, Twitch, and YouTube, powered by First NorCal Credit Union. I think the one thing that, and I kind of brought this up earlier, I want to run it by you guys, like the idea that Campbell was going for the silencer. Like he was looking for a way during a part of the game, which was obviously getting away from him. There's drops, there's fumbles, they're going up, 49ers are scoring. He kept looking for what I thought the Warriors were looking for a lot in the fourth quarter against the Lakers, the kill shot. They were trying to put the game away by making the big play instead of doing what had gotten them there, which was just putting the ball in the hands of their running back and stuffing it down the throats of the opposing team.
I mean, I don't know how a player would take that. But that feels to me, it's like, so you're telling me that we can't win for 60 minutes.
Absolutely.
So that's not a good message to send, especially when you've been killing them. They were dominating them.
You were running the ball, and the Niners had no answer.
Yeah.
And when you stopped, and then when you said, "Hey, let me take this out of your hands, and let's just go for it on fourth down." Now, the first one, like I said, I'm okay with that one. But when it's 6-7 minutes left in the game, I asked Jeff Fisher. I remember we lost in the Super Bowl. Dibs, you always remind me of that. And
man, 1 yard, right?
You
1 yard short.
Yeah, you know, Dibs knows how to stick that thing and drive it. And I'm
Kevin
like,
Dyson.
Yes, and I sit after like a week or two later. I come in OTAs and stuff. You're talking. I said, Coach, what would you have done? We battled back from 14. I would have went and we would have tied that game up. Would you have went for it to 2 points? And he said, he said, Lo, I couldn't do that to the players. You guys worked too hard for me to be selfish and go for 2. Man. That's the same thing with Campbell. That was a selfish move. I'm just telling you, that was you didn't give them a chance. You said, hey, look, you did it. Okay, you did it your way. That's when it should be an exception and say, kick the field goal with 7 minutes left, tie it up. At least you have an opportunity. And when he took that away from those guys, I think that's the heartbreaking for players on that team.
I go back to the third quarter one too, though. I know a lot of people have settled with this, and to me, if you ended up 7 to 8 minutes into the third quarter and all you've done is trade field goals, it's a huge win for you.
For Detroit,
you are up by 3 scores with a quarter and a half to go. Like that is tremendous position to be in.
That washes the Niners up. That would have washed out with everything they did. That drive now it nullifies that drive because you just scored 3. Yep. I totally agree.
And even if Gibbs then fumbles and they punch it in, it's 27-17 instead of 24-17, and you're still in a great spot to. I'm with you, Lo. I mean,
agreeing you in.
Same church, same pew, and you're sitting on my lap.
I usually sit on mine.
And my
I'm a
legs
little bit bigger, a little bit stronger.
Yeah.
That's got weird
That's
to
a
you,
low
Willard.
class.
What the hell's going on in here?
Pause.
I'm trying to get all the isms out in one segment.
This is us just, when you remember that show where they had the lion, he goes out in the wilderness, wherever he's at, and the person comes back like 5 years later, and you see this picture, the lion's running up, you're like, oh my God, he's going to attack, and the lion just jumps up and hugs the lady. That was me and Dibbers, right? It's been a while, Goo. It's been a while.
Tell them what you don't do. Yeah.
Which one is the lion? Which one's the hiker?
Who do you think the lion is? Hit the text line 959-959.
He did that today.
Dude, I almost crashed my car. Tell them what you don't do when you're in the lion's mouth.
Walk easy when you got your hand in the lion's mouth.
Yeah,
easy.
Boy.
Speak on it.
Out.
Speak
so
on
many
it.
people, they start talking junk when you got your hand in line. Walk your job, anything you do, walk easy till you get know that you got your hand out. Then you got to be able to build before you you got your hand out of that lion's mouth and you start talking crazy and jerking around. What that lion gonna do? Your hand, you gonna come out with your hand gone.
Preacher low.
C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
That part.
Go ahead and tell him.
Waving at half.
Go ahead.
Walk easy.
They thought it was over too, Willard. Maybe they thought it was over at half.
In the second quarter, what kind of an NFL player thinks a game is over when you're up by 2 scores in the second quarter?
The same guy who cheap shots a player 17 yards away from a play.
So you get what you get. I mean, the Lions were the most likable thing in the NFL, but not that dude.
Do you guys want to hear what Deebo had to say to that?
Yeah.
Give it
I saw what he tweeted. What'd he say?
What Deebo say?
Here's what he had to say post-game in response to C.J. Gardner-Johnson.
A lot of chatter between you and C.J. Gardner-Johnson the whole week, just seeing the personal foul early in the game. Just how does it feel just after?
Hey man, you got to get me when I'm looking. That's the only way you're gonna get me.
That was on the illegal block in the back.
Yeah.
You got to get me when you're looking.
Get me when I'm not looking. That's the only way you're going to get me. Yep.
I mean, Deebo was unbelievable yesterday, and he made
a lot of pain too.
A ton of plays in a ton of pain.
Good observation.
Sucked it up. Yeah. Played hard though.
No doubt.
The guy was at 90 yards on 9 catches.
Yeah.
I mean, he was catching little
the second
outright.
half too. He started.
Yeah.
He
nearly got it on the ground
and he just you can't tackle him. You just get the ball, and I think that's what helps Brock Purdy so much. Just for him to be able to just throw a little flair and let Deebo do the rest is amazing. Like you talked about, Goo. Just his ability to run people over, make guys miss. It's amazing.
And the first play out of the locker room where he goes up to Kyle before the ball's even kicked off, and he gives Kyle a little earful, and Kyle gives him a little pat in the back and says, "All right, Deebo." And so the first play to Deebo, and Deebo starts running angry and running downhill, and I mean, that's such a key for them is to get him involved. Yeah. And then eventually they're like, oh, that's right. We got 85 too. Maybe we'll get him involved in the game plan as well.
Gotta get that guy involved more. What's up with that though, guys?
I think that early on that he was staying into block.
He did a great job blocking.
Because
pancaking guys.
The offensive line was getting.
You saw that up.
Aiden Hutchinson.
He took Aiden Hutchinson and put in pancake.
Aiden looked at him like, "Did you do that? Are you the lineman or am I?"
Right.
Just walk
Boy,
he looked at him with like, "Oh boy."
That smile at each other.
What's wrong with you?
Yeah, seriously. What are you doing, dude? You're a tight end.
Yeah, Aiden looked at him like, who? Aiden walked back to the huddle, wiped the sweat off his brow, said, "Who in the hell left the gate open?"
Oh my God!
I tweeted earlier before the game even kicked off. Welcome to the. I'm tooting my own horn here. I'm on Twitter account. Guru.
Yeah.
Welcome to the NFL playoffs, where defenders drop easy interceptions. That was in reference to the Raven game, and then Detroit. The guy's right there on the fluke to Ayuk.
Yeah.
Great concentration in Monte said Lynn Swan. It had some of that to it, the concentration. But it hit you in the face, man. You got to catch that. But that's when I was like, oh, something's happened. I mean, that was a big play, man.
If Marcus
and they throw the flag,
the same
and you're thinking, well, even if you don't catch it. But they picked it up. Yep. So if you get the pick, you deflate the Niners
that'd be huge.
Brock Purdy pick. This ain't the day. That was a huge play. I don't think I've seen anything like that in the playoffs.
That's a good bounce. It's a good
Is that
bounce.
why defenders don't play offense? Like, catch a ball.
That one's actually tough, though.
Very
That
It
was
hit
a-
him in the face.
I know, but you're running
backpedaling
full
and jumping
speed,
and he's
backwards.
falling.
and you've left your feet going backwards. You're trying to cover a receiver.
guys.
I mean,
Evan,
if you're going to compare that to the Packer player last week,
Savage was.
that's what I'm
won't.
saying.
Okay.
That's a difficult catch and
But judge the
and
ball
a
in the
fortunate
air,
bounce.
Dibs.
It's
Maybe
a
it's because
fortunate
we
bounce.
saw
Hey, it was.
MVS earlier in the earlier game catch a similar type of falling
great
back,
throw, too, no
and that
doubt.
guy's not out of the best hands,
Kansas
but he also
City.
plays wide receiver.
Well, and
so.
if you want to like applaud great catches, you got to talk about Jawan Jennings going up,
boy.
Third
up.
down, Dibs.
And you know what? And we don't do this enough
It's
on this
huge.
program.
Yeah.
You got to give love to the fullback, the big fella.
Lowe did it.
Because my
Yeah.
guy, double
Come on,
fours.
come on, talk to Dib.
Purdy
Tell
scramble, Purdy on a roll,
tell him
Purdy with a
Dibs.
scramble,
Tell him Dibs.
Purdy buys
Come
time,
on.
and he throws it one way. And one man with those twinkly toes,
Oh,
those
my
beautiful
goodness.
feet, he
Yes.
goes up high, but the toes stay low.
Toe tap
The
and
toe
juice.
tapping on the
Did you
sideline.
think he was throwing it away?
I thought he was
Thrown
throwing
it
it
away. It looked.
Oh,
Yeah,
no.
I'm like,
go
he's
back.
just happy to still be alive.
You know what you're
And
talking
then I'm
about.
like,
You're
didn't
right
think
on
he
that.
Thank you for
gotta
throwing
go
it away,
into
and then I'm
the-
like, oh my God, there's
I
a
didn't
play
think
there.
he was throwing it to a fullback. I'll tell you that.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't think it'd be
It's a bird. It's a plane. No, it's huge check, baby. Land that thing.
I saw this too. What does the internet do if that play is made by Mahomes or Lamar?
Oh, they
come
go
on,
crazy.
you know what it
Right,
is.
right.
That throw that's
Van
fumble.
Pelt,
that
you know
is-
what it is.
That was pretty elite stuff.
No
that
doubt.
was pretty elite
And his
stuff.
legs won that game. I
doubt.
That was
his
where it was Mahomes.
That
No
was
doubt.
incredible. Those were third down runs that he was keeping alive,
took
man.
He didn't wait.
Wow.
He went through his read and he said, I'm
Purdy's
out.
legs,
That's
man.
what he did that was amazing. At times you see Purdy sometimes sit too long
Yep.
and trust that someone's coming open. And that's what I've been waiting. This was his finest hour. When you saw him, Dibs, he said, let me just take off and let me go create. And he just said, boom. They pushed him, they shrunk the pocket, and Purdy took off. And if he was even, he was leaving.
Yeah, I like that.
Would have been a great
I thought about it. I thought about it.
chance of the
It's
great
too much.
take.
He's been on fire, Evan.
You all damn day.
And he hasn't gotten
We're
any
easing
preacher
in.
low.
We're
And
easing in.
he hasn't gotten Valley
easing
Girl
in.
low. Maybe next time we can bring out all the different sides of low.
Oh, boy.
Oh, my God.
His
3 years
greatest
of,
hits. Lowe's
3
greatest
years
hits.
of my career right now flashing all the way back
boy.
in one segment. This
I
is
love it when your
incredible.
career flashes in front of you. I feel like it happens every year.
I know we're okay with not previewing the game. You okay with the line, Niners -1? About what you thought?
Seriously,
Lowe.
the line is such a funny thing
Isn't it?
because you know the public, and it opened it too.
Kansas.
Yeah.
go
They
ahead.
immediately
And
went
here
to
they
one.
come.
Well, the people are looking at these games going, why do you keep favoring the Niners? And it's almost like Vegas is like, well, because we're supposed to. Like all year, we thought we were going to.
Because you keep betting on
playing,
them.
I know.
All the
It seems
sharps
like
were on the Niners
obligatory.
yesterday.
Yeah.
It feels well. I mean, you
Uncle
know,
Backdoor.
that could have gone either way, right? Yeah, exactly.
Uncle back.
Golly.
I don't know.
Least
Always
favorite
shows
uncle.
up.
Yeah.
I don't know what to think, but I know that every matchup's different, and
Right.
I don't expect this one to
Okay,
necessarily.
that's it.
You know what I mean? Maybe Kyle will take the ball though if he wins the toss.
But Kansas City was plus 195 on their money line yesterday. And I just thought, show me you can beat Mahomes, Lamar, and they didn't. So that was some money to be made
God,
with
the
the Chiefs.
Ravens were bad.
Yeah.
The
worked too
Ravens,
late.
the Ravens were bad.
Lack of discipline in so many
Bingo.
ways. And
Bingo.
And I feel for Zay Flowers, but then I don't feel for Zay.
Control your emotions,
He's a young
man.
player.
On the same
and
drive.
The emotions got the best of
Exactly.
him. And then you get down to the goal line and ball security.
Oh, man.
Is,
you get that in, I think, oh, boy.
a
you got
different
some
ball
action.
game,
You got a
no
game.
doubt.
You
And
got
it
a
comes
game.
on the heels of that was a 3-pointed taunt. Because there was the push down,
Yeah.
then the ball spin, and then he gave him a little bit of the verbal what for?
Stood over him, yeah.
Yeah, so
Come on,
And
now.
that paid over.
too
That's
much.
why he wasn't locked into when he made that catch and holding the ball loose instead of saying, boom, I'm going with both hands and
Oh,
just jumping
man.
in the end zone and still keeping the ball because he let his emotions get the best of him because he wasn't ball security. So you're absolutely right. These players, I felt bad, but at the same sense, when you're doing that, that's called self-inflicted wounds. That's being selfish. Zay Flowers was selfish, and that's when the leadership on that team, and I'm shocked because Harbaugh is a good coach. I know this guy. I played in Baltimore. This guy, he doesn't usually like that. I'm shocked that some of those guys were able to be able to those antics that they're portraying.
Yeah.
Just not a hardball type of team.
Even Justin Tucker before the game. What are you doing?
Yeah, I didn't.
Get your crap out of there.
Maybe that's
dude.
why your
You
line
go
was
over
weak.
there and start messing with Mahomes and Kelsey with all your gear. I was actually,
and they didn't even bite.
Exactly.
I
was impressed by Kelsey.
Yep.
Kelsey's like
and they
Mahomes
won the
kicked
game.
it. But Kelsey's like, we're going to toss this over here, and I'm going to go back to work. I'm not even looking at you.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what looked like somebody who's been there 6 years in a row. That's what it looked like.
Totally.
Kansas City, man, I thought that Baltimore could win a street fight because they mean every time they get off the bus, they want to fight you. And they punk teams and they cower teams down because they're physical. Kansas City, I'm going to tell you right now, they ain't scared. Yeah. They aren't scared, and their defense has risen their level of play unbelievably.
Yes, they have.
Man.
Yeah.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
It's going to be an interesting matchup.
Chris Jones.
Yes, it
Chris
is.
Jones, y'all.
Yeah.
Chris Jones. Yeah, we nearly had a Lions Chiefs beginning and ending of the season, but we don't because of the 17-point comeback. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say for the next 4 hours. Willard and Dibs coming up next. Big thank you to Lorenzo Neal. You're the man, Lo. Love you, buddy. All right, coming up next, Willard and Dibs, 95.7 The Game.